everyone. I am Nina Joshi. And so with that, would like to formally bring on our guest today, pharmaceutical expert, Dr. Elena Rlzova. Dr. Elena, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Nina. I really feel privileged and I enjoy upfront of this conversation because it's so important to exchange experience, to help other women or the professional to build their career as well. So thank you very much for having me today.
Absolutely. So excited to, exactly to your point, to dive in and really learn more from you. And maybe a great place to start would really be around, your background. Would love if you could introduce yourself and kind of share a little bit more about your journey.
Yeah, thank you, Nina. It's a pretty long story, trying
We
to
love
make it
those.
short. So I'm a physician by training with a specialty in dermatology, skin disease, and my professional journey commenced in my home country, Bulgaria, in Europe, where I contribute to the academic realm as part of the medical team in Academy of Medicine. So I was thinking to, pursue an academic career, become professor one day. This was my dream as a kid. However, a turning point in my profession was when I took the opportunity in the 90s to specialize in France, where I, attended not only dermatology, but also immunology courses. And I engaged in PhD to learn a little bit more about the science beyond my clinical expertise. And during this academic phase, I had the privilege to collaborate with researchers from the pharmaceutical industry, which provide me with very valuable insight of what exactly is the drug development. So this experience, amazingly enough, opened new horizon, leading me to transition in the pharmaceutical sector while I was continuing partly to do clinical work as well. However, it was such a different profession, and I didn't realize it until I was truly immersed in this pharmaceutical development. I started in research and development team. And then over the years, I have continuously changed and reached my knowledge through various companies, evolving as a professional, but also as a leader. So some notable milestones in my professional development in the pharmaceutical industry was my contribution to the field of dermatology, which was my initial specialty in Galderma, based in France. But then I started to be more interested in the immunology field, which is broader than one specialty. And I worked for Johnson & Johnson, and in immunology, launching several interesting drugs for different indications. And then I took, again, an opportunity to become a head of medical team in Asia Pacific region, which, as you can imagine, it's totally different from where I was coming. And it was very interesting opportunity for me to learn about healthcare across different countries and to be exposed to this intricacy of Asian culture as well as diversity. This also brings me to another interesting evolution. I was serving as head of innovation in the J&J Innovation Centers in Asia, which opened another window for me, like the external innovation, innovators in different sectors. And again, this was enriching because I get exposed to such a different variety of opportunities, but also innovators across Asia, that this opened another window of opportunity, as I said. Later on, I decided that this would be fantastic, but I needed some more experience at global level. And this is where I had the privilege to work for Sanofi Genzyme as a global head of one of the biggest immunology franchise, again, linked to dermatology. So this phase exposed me to a myriad of challenges and provided me insights into healthcare dynamics in all the countries beyond Asia, like Latin America, Middle East, etc., and also equipped me with unique skill sets, enabling me to navigate very complex environment and contribute really meaningfully to a changing landscape of the healthcare and pharmaceutical business. So another, let's say, professional experience which built me as a person as well, but also as a scientist, was my exposure and contribution to groundbreaking advancement in neuroscience through my work with biotech company like Biogen. I had the privilege to work twice for this company in the very early stage of Biogen, which was a very small company, and nowadays where Biogen is a much bigger company with a lot of contribution in neuroscience.
Hmm.
So this dynamic and pioneering nature of the biotech industry has further broadened my perspective and enhanced my ability to navigate the evolving landscape of neuroscience with breaking through innovations, which of course drives me as a scientist, but also as a physician. So overall, if I have to summarize my diverse exposure to various disease treatments, drug developments, alongside with the experiences across multiple countries and cultures, has
Hmm.
been really instrumental to my continuous learning and professional growth. And I was able to be engaged with different facets of healthcare, from dermatology to neuroscience to immunology overall, and holistically to understand how globally we deliver healthcare to the patients, and understand also the challenges as well, and trying to contribute. So I must say, I did not imagine myself evolving this way. However, I think I'm very grateful to the destiny and the opportunities given me by several mentors, so I can really be contributing to global healthcare and to many patients across the world.
That is so incredible. There's so much that I want to go off of. I think the first thing I can just really tell, I mean, innovation is kind of in your blood when you're talking about all of the amazing things that you were able to do. And I loved how you talk about this like multidisciplinary skill set that you've developed, from dermatology, immunology, beyond neuroscience, all of that. And I liked how you kind of talked about how that was really like a strength for you. I think, in your perspective, what is kind of the strength of having like a multidisciplinary background and being able to just contribute to innovation?
Yeah, so I have been always driven by a dream to innovate and to try to combine clinical understanding of the patient in general, plus science and novelty, which is coming into the science.
Hmm.
So, and recognizing the evolving landscape of the medical science, I really choose to specialize in immunology because it's kind of across all the different disease area. You find
Hmm.
immunology, neuroscience, in dermatology, in Crohn's disease, everywhere almost.
Right.
But it has been interesting, and I found the most rewarding of my global impact to the healthcare in general, and to influence the patient outcomes. Because if you
Mm.
understand the clinical part of the patients and you understand the science, you're able to support improvement of the patient healthcare, which in the last 10 years has exploded, but it was not the case in the past. So it's really broadening and amplifying the significance of the science to contribute to the patient healthcare, which kind of drive me. And I found that fascinating that we're able to contribute to this kind of aspect. So, my journey has reinforced the belief that combining diverse discipline, understanding, and powerful force of innovation with the transformation, and navigating these intersections is, the way you can have an impact into the healthcare and the well-being of people around the world. So I don't believe today that unique expertise in one area can make things happen or can help the patients. I need all these facets of understanding and different aspects of the science, the technology, the commercial skills as well. How do you bring the treatments to the patients in a country where it's not easy to get treatment? So I think it's impossible to work alone in this field anymore.
I love that. I mean, that's a rallying cry for a community, which I think is so, so powerful and so important. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Elena. And one of the things that you had mentioned when providing your background was really around, your experience working in global markets, which I think is so fascinating. Could you elaborate? Was there any interesting insight or experience that you kind of got from working in these, what I would imagine, very, multicultural dynamics abroad?
Yeah, well, that's another skill which I learned. You never learn that in the medical school or, whatever scientific background you have. But in my role managing international teams, I encounter, a specific experience where, while leading a cross-cultural team, is very interesting because you have people with background from the US, China, Japan, Middle East, Latin America. They're totally different. And you don't realize that until you really deep dive and work closely with them. So I found one of the most interesting is navigating the communication skills and styles. For example, in the US, direct communication is preferred, right? While in Japan, it's all about the assumptions and saving face and how you say the things and how do you allow other people to speak. So, this inclination toward indirect communication is really more important in Japan. In Brazil, you have leaders who are, with different aspects, more exuberant than the Asian. So, managing the team with this diverse aspect of the culture, it's critical so you can create one community. And this requires immersion in the countries, I would say. Otherwise, we have been exposed to different trainings, and it's, of course, useful. However, until you experience it and learn from your mistakes, it's impossible to really understand the culture. So I found that quite interesting and impactful when you can impactfully work with the team, understanding, their specific cultural aspects, the way they communicate and they prefer to communicate. And I can give examples, after having some crisis in my experience in Asia, we decided as a team that we'll do a workshop where, we can allow each country to explain what is their preferred communication style and what is their translation of what we are saying. So this opened eyes to many of our colleagues and myself. So this also helped improving the team spirit and to be respectful for each other.
I love that. Yeah, I think, this is a great segue into my next question, because I really like how you were able to, understand kind of the different nuances that come with working with a very diverse team, global team, and really kind of turn that into strength. And I think, your time spent in the industry really as a leader, I have so many questions for you that really touch upon that. Is there anything that, I think, as a place to start, is there a way that you could kind of describe your, leadership style or approach when dealing with and leading these high performance teams in this broad organization that's, really, really entrenched in transformation and innovation?
Yeah. So, leadership is something which is not constant. As a leader, you need to evolve and you need to adapt to people and teams you're leading as well. So in general, leadership is an art. It's inspiring, guiding individuals toward shared goals. That's very important to me, to have shared goals, but also embrace the differences, the gender, the race, the diverse range of quality and skills of the team, so you can really make a good mixture. So effective leaders usually have a compelling vision and the ability also to communicate and inspire, and the capacity as well of strategic decision and driving the team, because sometimes teams require driving, not only listening, but driving. So usually for me, and this is what I was trying to perpetuate in my career, the leader is example. So he needs to lead by example and foster collaboration and also help the team to go through difficult times in the organizations and external environment, but be adaptable and also resilient. So this is quite what I call the sheep with the 5 legs. In French, we say la brebis à 5 pattes, le mouton à 5 pattes. So it's difficult to have all these qualities, and we're all human beings. However, a true leader, it's not about authority, but it's about empowering others to reach their potential, ambition, even beyond what they are projecting themselves. And I have a few examples where people are saying, I'm not sure I can do it. I don't have the time, the skills. And, I have been always pushing those people to go beyond what they believe they can do. So I think for me, this is rewarding for the leaders as well, because they help others to develop, and therefore developing a team. It's fantastic. So in general, I would say, if you think about high performing team, there is no one recipe, I would say, but important critical point are from the leader to have a clear vision and goals, Second, to be able to communicate in the way others can understand. As we mentioned, different countries, different cultures have a different preferences. Make sure that the team is empowered to do even mistakes. Empower the team. Understanding the mistakes and growing from the mistakes is critical as well. But also recognize and reward them, because there is nothing worse than working, never being rewarded, even by a word. This is pretty disappointing for many people because they put their soul, their time as well. Conflict resolution, it's one of those where we all face it, right? And we should not shy away. Conflict is constructive. You know, we can argue as long as we have respect for each other and we find a common ground. I think it's very healthy to have a specific conflicts in a team. And leading by examples, I mean, I have been always working with the teams, either to accomplish a specific project or to help where I can. So I'm not shying away of working with the team and giving them feedback as well on the performance. Having said all that, we're talking about the work, but it's important that people also think about their well-being and what is important in their life for them. Right. So I think this is critical also to watch people, because in different situation, their life brings them to a different challenges personally. So you need to acknowledge that as well. So there is no one recipe, as I said, you know. It's important that remembering leading a high-performance team, it's an ongoing process. It's not like one forever. And right. It requires continuous effort and attention. And also thinking about, okay, if you're high-performing team today, it doesn't mean that you will be tomorrow. So how do you maintain this kind of continuous high performance? It's also one of those things which I'm not sure I know how to do it, but I'm trying my best to motivate the team.
Well, I can already tell from what you're describing that you really have this, you know, very generous grasp on what it means to kind of to be a leader. And I think that's so incredible. And what I also know is incredible is that talent development is also something that is really important to you. And you kind of mentioned this already when you really think about your role as a leader when it comes to mentoring, advocating, championing. So when you kind of think about talent development for your team, you know, how do you go about fostering this development? Are there any strategies that you have to really, you know, bring forth the potential for your team?
Yeah, team development and talent development, it's very critical. Whenever I get in a job, I'm already thinking, okay, who will succeed me? And this is where I'm trying to encourage people to think beyond their dreams even, and to get to a higher level. Sometimes it requires just to give people some confidence that, yes, they are capable, they will fail somewhere, but they can always be better. That's one. Second is to show them a bigger picture of themselves. You know, you have the modest people who will not believe that they one day can evolve into something different. So those one you need to push. There are people who are over, you know, how to say, overconfident. Those one you need to refrain a little bit until they get to the stage where they can lead others. But you should help them in order to build their leadership skills as well. So how do you do that? It's really personable, and you need to figure out with the team that you have. One day I have asked one of our executives in J&J asking, how do I develop the team in a short period of time? It was in the Johnson & Johnson Innovation Center, which was totally new setup of organization. And he told me something which I will always remember. He said to me, the only way you can teach someone is to give him the task bigger than he has accomplished so far and just let him drive. And you know, I think it's true. And I have tried several times and it works. You know, some people get frustrated with the failures. Some people just embrace the challenge. Yeah. And I think this is probably one of those areas where you can develop the talent by giving them tasks which they have not been exposed before, or, you know, dedicating special time to them to help them growing. For women, I think it's important because, you know, we are so multitasking in our lives with family, kids, husband, or partner in general. I think it's important also for women leadership to get so self-confident, because we are bringing diversity. We have a unique perspective. Even we are perceived as a more empathetic. It's not always the case, but we are perceived as more empathetic. However, we need to continue drive positive changes and not to try to match other examples or behavior, but to be genuine and try to fight for, what is our potential and what is our view of the world and the professional environment. So I think this combined with strategic vision, of course, and good experience and expertise, it's something very critical for women talent development. And I'm focusing on that because I have seen women who are confident, women who are less confident, but I think they always bring something different.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that you just pointed such a great playbook for, I think, for all of us when it comes to being really able to step into your power and I like that you really talked about authenticity and being genuine and not feeling like you have to be a specific type of way to excel. I think that's all, such great, just life advice in general. That's amazing.
Thank you, Nina.
Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Elena, I'm also kind of curious, because you have had, extensive experience and really expertise in just the healthcare landscape, from like a career development perspective, I think now, and I'm sure you've, seen how the healthcare industry is changing and evolving, all of these things that are happening. Are there any particular challenges or opportunities that you see right now? And for those that are kind of looking to grow in their career, that are kind of looking to develop in a specific way, is there anything that they can do or anything that you're kind of doing to address those particular opportunities?
And you mean opportunities in healthcare in general?
Yeah, just the broader industry as it's continuously changing.
Yeah, I mean, in the last years, we have seen such a tremendous change in the landscape of healthcare. And I think COVID also contributed to that, because we had to do differently the way we are doing before from the way that we're doing before. I think nowadays there are much more exciting opportunities together with challenges. I think one of the primary challenge lies in the achieving greater healthcare accessibility and equity in general globally. We know that in different countries there is a different access to healthcare, and bridging these gaps is crucial because we're in the 21st century. There are so many innovations in the science, in the technology, and I feel still medical and drug development in general is still behind all this innovation, because it's much more complicated to implement it. Mm-hmm. So technology advancement and digital health present challenges and opportunities. So integration of this digital technology and enhancing patient care and data management, it's very interesting opportunity. Of course, there are challenges with the data security and interoperability, and it's very challenging to navigate the digital transformation. However, I think we should embrace it and see the better part of it. Rising cost of healthcare, it's one significant challenge, and everyone has witnessed that. But we are finding ways to improve the efficiency, reduce some of the costs, and optimize resource allocation, and also think about different pricing in different countries as well, based on the healthcare equity eventually. Mm-hmm. And this will help us to create much more sustainable healthcare systems in general. Mm-hmm. I think embracing the artificial intelligence, we're hearing more and more. Yep. We think artificial intelligence will eat our jobs, will not have jobs. I feel differently. I feel like artificial intelligence can help us and allow us to do much more innovative things than the basics. If we can use the artificial intelligence to help us advancing and accelerating the innovation, this will be tremendous opportunity for healthcare in general and for drug development in particular. And if you think even telemedicine and remote patient monitoring, it's fantastic. I mean, patients should not go anymore to the hospital for every single small thing. We can probably resolve that with technology. And then the healthcare system will not be so, embedded in many patients not being able to be seen. On the other hand, patients do not need to take transportation to go in a specific time frame. I think we should be more embracing the technology and the artificial intelligence and all the opportunities that have been provided to us in this century. So that's why I'm thinking, there are great opportunities. Of course, there are always challenges. And that's why we're working with such a talented people in the pharmaceutical and biotech environment that can solve the challenges and offer solutions.
That's what at 100%. I love that. And I agree. I think it's the opportunities make it exciting and the challenges, that they're part of it, but with the right community, it's very doable. And I also realized that we are about 2 minutes out, which is crazy to me. I feel like time was flying. But Dr. Elena, I would love if to maybe kind of end the discussion with really any kind of advice or words of wisdom that you have for young professionals that are really, looking to grow, to develop, to advance their careers. I mean, you are a wealth of information and knowledge. So I'd love if there's anything that you can kind of share with us about advice.
Yeah. Well, first, let me address the women part, because I feel guilty we didn't spend enough time about talking about women. And why I want to say that is because we rarely differentiate. But I have been exposed in my career to women who are, shy, not confident to pursue their careers. So I would say, in order to have fulfilling career, you have to aspire high and you need to dream high. And you need to pursue your dreams as well. If you don't pursue your dreams, you will never achieve. You'll be frustrated. So I think it's extremely important that you clearly understand what is your dream and try to reach it. I dreamed to be a physician. I did it. I mean, it was not easy. I dreamed to go to Asia actually, and I was helped by many people. So I love this experience. So trust in your capacity to make a meaningful impact. And I think the pharmaceutical industry is really very diverse. There are diverse perspectives. And the unique contribution of a person or a woman in general and professional could drive very positive changes. So remember that the importance is maintaining a healthy also work and personal balance. You don't need to overkill yourself and forget about your personal life, because this will not help in professional life as well. So I think the balance between, being ambitious, delivering on what you promise in the professional life, but also being mindful about your personal interests in life, it's critical. So you'll regret later on if you have not done it. So dream boldly, work diligently, trust your ability, strive for this balance that feels very successful and fulfilling career. So that will be my recommendation.
I want to write this down on a postcard and stick it somewhere on my desk. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Dr. Elena, for such an enlightening conversation. It was truly a joy to just learn your perspective and just learn from you as well.
Yeah, thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity. Yes, I really enjoyed, and I hope it was helpful for some of our colleagues online.